First, they sought to equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, and now they're seeking to redefine anti-Semitism as a whole. The thing about America's pro-Israel legislation is that it's never really coherent, nor is it constitutional. It's also not representative. If you think about how the vast majority of Americans are for a ceasefire, yet somehow the vast majority of the House and the Senate can constantly come together to pass legislation to fund this genocide and then to protect criticism of this genocide, seemingly not taking into consideration their constituents' views at all. This is the problem with the state of affairs that we are in right now. According to this new act, the redefinition of anti-Semitism makes calling Israel a racist state or declaring it an apartheid state potentially anti-Semitic. That would mean that every respectable human rights organization in the world, including Israeli human rights organizations, are anti-Semitic. That would mean that Nelson Mandela was anti-Semitic. That would mean that Desmond Tutu, Malcolm X, Angela Davis, Fred Hampton Jr., James Baldwin, and the list goes on and on, were all anti-Semites. That would mean that the millions of Americans of conscience that are standing up across college campuses and across the entire nation to declare that they refuse to do business as usual while this country continues to invest in this genocide and protect it, that would mean that they are all anti-Semitic. Most Americans are sick and tired of the legislation. Most Americans are sick and tired of the gaslighting. Most Americans see right through Israel's propaganda machine. You see, if you were to go into the encampments across the country, you would notice a significant Jewish pro-Palestinian set of protesters at every single encampment. If you were to look across public opinion, you would notice that the chorus is growing, and you would notice that it is getting stronger, and we refuse to be intimidated. What frustrates Israel's propaganda machine is that students are no longer intimidated. We are no longer intimidated. And what is happening in Congress is clearly a sign of the disconnect between the government and the people. You have to ask yourself, why is it that Congress can legislate at lightning speed in the interests of a foreign nation that is on trial for genocide at the ICJ, while the president seeks to protect the Israeli prime minister from an ICC arrest warrant, while Americans are struggling to get food on the table and struggling with their basic medical needs? This government is certainly not for the people. It's certainly not for justice. But we, the people, will stand for justice regardless of the intimidation.